Okay, seeing none, is there any new business?
I would like to bring up a couple of things. One, an actual phone call, and one anecdotal. And I think we need to bring to the board table next time Common Core and PARCC, and seriously bring it. And I will tell you the most interesting thing. I was listening to the radio the other day, and a guy called into the Dennis Miller show, and he apparently knew him because he gets a lot of the same callers. The guy was an artist, and he said that he had been hired by a textbook company to do a drawing of an event. I don't know if it was a square dance or a town meeting or church or what it was. The year was going to be 1889, and the textbook company wanted diversity. And the artist called him back or emailed him back and said, there was no diversity in 1889. And the textbook company said, our concern is not historical accuracy. So paint it the way we asked you to. That worries me. And then I had a phone call just before I got here again about what are the ramifications going to be if parents keep their children out of PARCC tests, the forthcoming ones. And we really got to have an answer. I mean, some people are thinking, Dr. Sloan, there are people saying, are they going to send a lawyer to my house? And
I have lots of those, so I just send them out every day. So.
Okay, well, but, I think it would be good if we all knew, because I can't give anyone an answer.
I've been asked the same thing by many people that are saying they would like to.
This is important. When I heard this woman tonight, and she got done, well, she wasn't done, but as she completed part of her comments to me, I said, do you hear yourself? And she said, yes, I do. I am afraid the government is taking my child away. And that is what it sounds like to people.
Well, I guess the first thing, what are the tests for PARCC, or the dates for PARCC testing?
March 3rd, I believe.
There's windows. So at the elementary level, I don't know what the windows are. Becky, okay.
March 2nd to March 29th is the performance-based window. And then there's a second window, which is another 4 weeks. You have 2 weeks for paper pencil, 4 weeks for the online assessment. And the end of year assessment is in April. I don't know the exact dates.
Okay, so I'm sorry.
So these tests are given from March 2nd to March 29th?
Well, those are the windows that they have to be given in. So they have some flexibility at each school as to when they give them and what grade levels they give them based on computer availability, based on when the teachers schedule it and stuff like that. So every school is going to be slightly different, but they have those availability within those windows.
And the period of time those take, the test?
We've been told, we don't know that for sure, but we've been told that adding the two together, both the March 1 and the May 1, May, right? April 1, will approximately be about 12 hours.
And obviously, it's going to be over several days in each instance.
Correct, yeah. So some of them may, as an example, they're going to be different at the high school level than they are at the middle school and that. And so it'll be up to the principals and teachers to schedule them. Yeah. So as an example, they might have class and then an hour of testing and then class again, kind of stuff. And then depending on how the computer availability is. So I can't tell you that, every kid's going to be testing on these days because that's not the way it's going to work.
And we're doing similar, and
But are they advising parents of when, in other words, your child is in 3rd grade and we're going to have, PARCC testing for 3rd graders? Some of them will be from 9 until noon, and some will be from 1 until 4 on March 24th and on March 25th. Are they going to be advised ahead of time so that if they don't want their child to take the test, they know when it's going to be? That's what I want to know. Hello?
I hear you.
I know, I'm waiting for an answer.
You saw a state superintendent and what the legislature and the state board has said, right?
Yes.
You saw that.
I did.
Okay, I mean, at the request of Mr. Sperling, I called the state superintendent, talked to him, and said, what if we said no? And his answer was, you saw that letter come out, and it was some fairly stiff language as to it.
It was, and who elected
And here's the
him?
difficulty I got, no matter what I'm going to say, is that those two individuals are going to write about it in the paper tomorrow.
They won't.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty confident they will.
It's just us.
I am not a big fan of park testing,
I know that.
okay? At the same time, I have an obligation to to make sure that we follow the rules within the realm of the rules. So am I going to chase parents? The answer is no.
Good. But are you going to advise them of what date? and
No,
time
because
they're
the
testing?
answer is that it's going to be so, every kid is going to be different based on when their classes are and everything else. So I'm not going to have the capacity, the kids are going to know, but at the same time, I'm not going to have the capacity to communicate with 13,000 kids, their individual schedules to parents as to when those things are going to happen.
But they're going to know these schedules at some point.
They're going to, the kids will know them.
So, and my concern, and again, this is not, obviously not a criticism of the district, this is what we are somewhat mandated to do, but my concern as a teacher, I can tell you that several days in a row of a schedule such as you described is an absolute nightmare and a waste of those days in most of the classes. I mean,
I don't think you see me disagreeing.
I know you don't, and I'm just...
Yeah, nobody, I don't think is
I'm
like
not trying to start a fight where there isn't one.
attacking you. What I would like to know is how this unelected Mr. Koch, whatever is the cook, however he wants to call himself, this unelected person has the authority to tell elected representatives on school boards what they can and cannot do
Well,
in their district.
Again, I'm pretty, knowing Dr. Cook well, he is under the same constraints that I'm under. An individual at the federal government told him, this is what you will do, and if you don't do that, you won't get your money.
Fine, we don't want their money.
Okay, it's billions.
I don't care.
Well, that affects a lot of other districts, too.
It's billions.
You know what?
It's not chump change here. We're not talking about that.
I understand. I've looked at the budgets. I know we get how much percentage from taxpayer property taxes. I understand how much comes from the feds and from the state, if we even get it. I understand all that, and for a non-math person, that's not bad. Anyway, it is unconstitutional
Right.
for the Department of Education, which shouldn't exist to begin with, to tell local school districts what they can do. And I'm not yelling at you. I'm just,
I know, well, you and I we don't disagree on what the Constitution says, the federal Constitution.
that's
so.
right, we don't.
So what are we recommending?
What we need to do is we need to get the facts. We need to, I mean, if need be, I will certainly respond to Dr. Cook's letter. I've already written him once. He hasn't responded, but I'll try it again. These people need to understand that they don't even know what this stuff is. They don't know what they're teaching kids. They don't know. It's all about money. Pearson came and Gates came and everybody came and said, we'll pay you and then you can pay the states and then we can run this
Well,
program.
before we get too far off track,
I'm becoming, this is intolerable conversation because it's not based on
Really?
fact.
What is the
I
fact?
presented in a previous board meeting why I supported it. I came out with facts and data. And if we're going to have this political conversation about our students and our teachers and what state law requires, what you are frankly asking, whether or not you believe in this or not, Mrs. McConnell, is a revolt. You're asking us to not obey the law because of your personal beliefs. It is the law. And unless you want that law to change, it cannot be done at this level. We cannot advise our parents nor our students to break the law. It is the law, no matter what you feel about it, the test, no
I
matter
don't-
how offended you are. Right now, it's the law.
I don't
It's
think
the
she was
law of Illinois.
advocating that we
And,
tell our
no,
students to.
excuse me, Mr. McNally, that's what I'm hearing.
Well,
How
you
can
might
we
be
advise our parents not to take diligent
No, she didn't say,
children?
she said let them know when their
Let
child
them know.
will be taking it,
For what reason? For what reason?
because it's their child.
It is
Right.
the law.
Well, let's reel this in a little bit. We're getting way off track here. So I guess what's the new business? Would you like to just give more facts?
I'd like us to more closely review and bring as many facts as possible forward to the board so that we know better what we're dealing with.
Okay, and that is actually something I would like to see as well. Is there anyone else?
Absolutely. It's,
Okay,
Okay,
that's something we could do learning and teaching.
Yeah, can I clarify a little
Sure.
bit? We have been down the road on Common Core before. Do we want to go down that road on Common Core again, the same road that we traveled? Or we've not been down the road on PARCC. We have been down the road on Common Core.
Well, I think right now, we just, as a board, we should know the facts about it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We've been down that road with learning and teaching. We did this at learning and teaching.
Sure,
And
but I think we've taken it in pieces as we've
Right.
gone through the different curricula.
I don't think we have a global view of Common Core
Okay,
as
we
it
can do
ties
that.
into PARCC.
All right, we can do that. I just need to understand exactly what you're looking for so that I understand, that I can produce it.
Just so that as people ask us about it or talk to us about it, we have the facts. and
I
not,
think,
well,
I think
heard
that's the
this,
valid
heard that.
point, that we really don't.
You're going to do that at learning and teaching?
Well, if that's what people
Sure,
want to do.
that's fine.
We're meeting tomorrow to talk about what we're going to have at our next meeting, which is a week from tomorrow. So
I'll be
I
out
would
of town.
imagine,
Mr. Allison just
I'll be
can't
out.
wait.
I believe this is informational, just as we talked about AP, or just as we talk about FLUS, or what, there's not an action item, I don't think, coming out of it. I guess there could be.
I
Okay, there
guess
could
for
be.
now, it'd
But
be
we need
for
information.
only.
Right, and we're looking at information, because I would say that one thing is that we've gotten bits and pieces over the years, and now it's supposedly a little, like the park testing. That hasn't been very clear, probably until right about now, so.
And it's still not completely
Not
clear.
clear.
And that's the problem, is that's the problem I see with this. People have known for how long when the ACT was, but now we kind of sort of know when PARCC's going to be over some period of days, over a month period that you're going to be taking over, maybe a few days.
Yeah.
That's just,
So if we do it next week, then it's at least before the testing starts, and if people did have questions,
Yeah.
I think, I was just going to, add one tiny little thing, though. I think, there's a stipulation or consideration or whatever, that the students were absent on the day of the test. They're supposed to be given the test when they come back to school.
Right.
Right? So then we've now, if parents don't want to take it, they're going to be chasing their tail, or not, we're going to be chasing their kid, trying to get that test
he said
taken.
I'm not going to
Yeah,
chase.
chasing?
so, Well,
Okay.
let's just leave it at the next learning
We
and
will
teaching.
I will talk with them tomorrow and see
next
all that
Monday,
they
is
can
that
get.
what we want?
Tuesday, actually, 'cause
I'm sorry,
that's
Tuesday, yes, it would be Tuesday.
I don't know if there was a lot of other stuff, but
You have a cold coming about Tuesday morning, don't you?
Any other new business?
she had another thing, too.
No, I was just going to reintroduce Mrs. Reeder, who's going to be a board candidate, and she also has done a lot of research. So we might,
By the way, there is no funding of PARCC by the district,
well, who funds
Those are
it?
some of the facts we need.
Who?
the state.
Them.
Where does the state get their money?
Well, I'm not
We'll
saying
find that
by our district, by our budget. There's no funding by the
We'll
district.
find that out next week. Let's
Okay,
move on.
but so, we pay our taxes and then they pay the,
The next new business thing that I would like to throw out there is, oh, I'm sorry.
Hi. I'd like to talk just briefly about immunizations.